Stuck in your head? Meditation beats contemplation. Together, let us relaxingly recite the 24th verse of Prahevajra's vast expanse of the diamond-like mind. Okay, so here's my intention, that you and I together as a team relaxingly recite this passage 4 times. In between each repetition, I would like to give an explanation to not only make this make more sense, but to answer the opening question. Together, let us recite. Whoopsie, one problem over here. Let me quickly deal with. Okay. The universal path that is the same as that is like the moon and the basis of its reflection. So the pronoun that refers to the time past and time present are the authentic condition that is complete in its own place. Likewise, its path is the same. This is its very nature. So we're talking about radical vulnerability, where we are vulnerable to whatever comes up as we breathe in, whether that which comes up is a sight, a sound, a sensation, a flavor, or a scent, whether that which comes up is an emotion, an intention, a thought, a memory, or an imagining, being completely vulnerable to the present moment. So that is what we're continuing with right here, that same radical vulnerability. The universal path that is the same as that is like the moon and the basis of its reflection, as it is the absolute equality of all that is not realized through a limited view. The absolute equality of all is another way of referring to non-duality. Non-duality is not something we realize through thinking, but through feeling. And I'd like to illustrate that with the following page. Let's go back over here for a moment. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, but no, not in the fun, tingly way. What could that suckiness look like? Well, it could look like Yang's religious or irreligious patriarchy. Most of us are born into cultures that train us to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. This does an excellent job of describing the archetype of Devadatta, the Buddha's foolish cousin. A minority of folks choose to traverse the path of Yin's spiritual matriarchy, the path of being flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. This is personified or exemplified by the archetype of Gautama the Buddha. So those of us stuck on the path, the controlling path of rigidity and fear, indulge our controlling tendencies by traversing the path of focus and analysis. Doing so not only exhausts our prefrontal cortex, but it triggers our amygdala, which is the seat of both anxiety and aggression, which I'm sure you would agree are the opposite of the peace and the love that we hunger for. Got some good news for you. During our inhalation, when we cooperate with our sympathetic nervous system, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, fleetingly notice mind's antics. that I just described to you. Perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. All of them. Be they external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. Every time we exhale, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, we are wired to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and less defining. So as we breathe in, it is perfectly natural and spiritually advantageous for us to perceive dualities. Peril and safety, pain and bliss, scorn and praise, fame and shame, and the like. As we relax into our exhalation, those dualities collapse into the simplicity of just the circumstantial, just the physical, just the interpersonal, just the mental. And we're able to observe them without drowning in neurosis. So, to get to the point where we're able to make peace with whatever experience befalls us, does not come from focusing or analyzing, does not come from concentrating or contemplating, does not come from exhausting our medial prefrontal cortex or our dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, but rather it comes from cooperating with our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system. Let us recite this passage a third time. The universal path that is the same as that is like the moon and the basis of its reflection. As it is the absolute equality of all, it is not realized through a limited view. So let's take a closer look at the trope of the moon and its reflection. Summer is approaching. And so on a full moon night, on a clear full moon night during the summer, we can go into our backyard, or for an apartment complex, we can go outside our apartment with a basin of water or a bowl of water and set it down. And when the water calms down, because it'll move when we're moving, but when the water calms, you'll be able to see the reflection, the moon reflected on the water. However, if you try to pick up that reflection using just your thumb and index finger, all you'll pull away are moistened fingers, because that reflection of the moon on a vessel of water will be appearing yet non-graspable. And that can apply to the four bases of mindfulness. We can experience our circumstances as appearing yet non-graspable. We can experience our body as sensual yet non-graspable. We can experience the interpersonal as resounding yet non-graspable. We can experience our own mind's phenomena as lucid yet non-graspable. That does not come through belief, because belief is a rigidity. It's a rigidity of intellect and emotion. It comes just by cooperating with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. What is the most efficient way of doing that? To silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this each time we feel air enter our nostrils, and to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease each time we feel air exit our nostril. One moment. And now together as a team, let us recite the fourth and final repetition of this 24th verse. The universal path that is the same as that is like the moon and the basis of its reflection. As it is the absolute equality of all, it is not realized through a limited view. What's a great example of a limited view? When we indulge our controlling tendencies, when we are rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, who are forever shoving at some things and reaching for other things, rather than simply choosing to be vulnerable and passive and simply perceive with reckless abandon. You've heard the phrase, dance like no one's watching, love like you've never been hurt. Well, let's perceive like we've never been hurt. Like we've never burnt our hand on a hot stove. Like we've never been treated cruelly by our classmates in school. Like we've never been lied to by a politician. Let us bring that vulnerability into the path of awareness, for it serves meditation's path of release. Having completed our opening lesson, it's time for us to shift gears. It is General Leia Organa's Saturday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 minutes of housekeeping. I'm sorry, well, not 30 minutes, that's 30 seconds. This is the Dzogchen Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation, so that I could become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers, just like you. Welcome to the latest iteration of Very Easy Meditation. Let us open the practice by chanting the essence of loving kindness. Let's rephrase this for a second. Let's open the practice by All right, let's open the practice by bringing the 4 paces of mindfulness into the path of loving kindness. Safety boon for all lots. blissful health for all forms. And I think this would work better if I incorporated some contemplative notation. By contemplative notation, what I really mean is chanting notation. Together. Peace with love for all feels. All right, together. Wisdom, joy for all minds. One, two, three, four, five, and I'm going to hit copy because I'm going to put a mirrored version of this at the end, but not right now. Okay. So welcome to the first collection of 12 sets of 12 inhalations. Let's begin with a quick review. Upon the creases of our right hand, we could count 12 inhalations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Upon the creases of our left hand, we could count 12 sets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But how are we going to count one, no less four, collections of all the above? As follows. Upon the tip of our left ring finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, palms up in our lap. All right, now let us practice. Upon the tip of our left middle finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, palms up in our lap. Each time we inhale, thanks to the sympathetic nervous system, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Every time we exhale, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, we are wired to physically relax and mentally release in such a way as to cause that which we noticed during our previous inhalation to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand. The most efficient way to cooperate with our sympathetic as well as parasympathetic nervous systems is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this each time we feel air enter our nostrils, and to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease each time we feel air exit our nostrils. We come now to the third collection on one set of 12 inhalations. Upon the tips of each of our left fingers, we could rest the great knuckles at the base of each of our right fingers, palms up in our lap. We come to the fourth collection of 8 sets of 12 inhalations. Upon the tip of our left index finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger, palms up in our lap. It is by cooperating with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems that we're able to calm our anxious and aggressive amygdala and stimulate our anterior cingulate gyrus, which is the seat of empathy. The easiest way for us to cooperate with these two facets of our autonomic nervous system are for us to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, and for us to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. Each time we relax into our exhalation, whatever dualities such as such as scorn or praise we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if they were melting into the simplicity of the interpersonal, regardless of whether it's pleasurable, painful, interesting, or boring. Together, let us practice right now. All right. Let's close the practice by bringing the 4 bases of mindfulness into the path of loving kindness. Blissful health for all forms. Peaceful. Oopsie, well, let's try this again. Let's go. Wisdom, joy for all minds. Peaceful love for all feels. Safety boon for all lots. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class as well as group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.